Hello, hello. See some participants in here as well. Welcome to the webinar. Good Tuesday morning if you're on Pacific time, or lunchtime maybe if you're on the East Coast. This is our Lumana and Monarch Advisors joint webinar on upgrading your security cameras and video surveillance and video operations. We're going to get started with the content in just a couple of minutes to let everyone pile in. Why don't you guys throw in the chat? I don't know if the rest of you can see it, but just go ahead and throw in the chat, where you guys are calling in from. Would love to just see, sort of the diversity of geographies that we have here on the call. I can start. I'm in Sacramento, but yeah, if you guys want to throw in the chat there where you're coming in from. All right, we got New Jersey. Home of the World Cup final. New York, Westchester. Nice. Everyone else is coming in from a virtual world, I guess. All right, well, I'm seeing, I think, everybody in here, so why don't we get started? I'm going to throw it over to William Fulton, one of our AE extraordinaires here at Lumana. He's going to walk us through some of the initial parts of the webinar, as well as the content later on, the live demonstration. Yeah, I'll let him take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick, for passing it over. Once again, my name is William Fulton. I lead our strategic partnerships here at Lumana, and I have the privilege to be working with Joe Peters with Monarch Advisors. Once again, I know you guys are all over the U.S. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your Tuesday mornings, afternoons. But we're going to be just tackling what Lumana does specifically for upgrading your existing infrastructure and why you don't need to be doing the rip and replace model from the past. So after myself speaking, we're going to have a solutions engineer on the call. So if you do have any questions besides saying that, hey, you're from here, we do want you to have a voice on this. So during any time throughout this entire webinar, feel free to put in a question. If we don't answer it during our Q&A session at the very end, myself, Joe, or one of the other dozens of individuals from his company will be reaching out to you after for a quick and professional response. But until I do my demo, I wanted to introduce Joe Peters so he can briefly talk about Monarch, their reach across the entire U.S., and how they've been working with Lumana and other IT-related professionals across the world. With that, Joe.
William, thank you so much. To everyone out there today, thank you so much for giving us this time and taking this time out of your day to speak with Lumana and Monarch. A little bit about Monarch. We actually were an early adopter to this type of AI technology with Lumana. So we've been with them since the beginning, and we've been part of their journey. With that, Monarch Advisors is actually headquartered in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but we have a national reach across the entire country. I currently am located out in Utah. A lot of my team is located back in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Northeast region, and we have coverage in the Midwest and the South. Monarch is strategically positioned with Lumana as we have the ability to do nationwide installs in every major city and in remote areas if you as a customer have multiple locations, or if you're dialing in anywhere in the US, we can actually handle that for you. We have over 5,000 installations currently, and we are on every single government contract in all 50 states. So if you need to procure, you need help putting grants together, anything that you can think of to help lighten the load and take advantage of the funding that you can use this technology for in your organization, we're 100% here to help. And we provide everything from end to end, from the project delivery, from start to finish. So at Monarch, our core solutions are actually infrastructure, networking, cybersecurity, and the Microsoft Cloud Suite. So we are considered a value-added reseller. You guys may have heard of that, as most companies are working with them. So we focus ourselves around the top 100, 200 tech companies that play in all areas of this space. From an infrastructure and data center component of our business, we work with all the major data center companies such as NetApp, Dell, Nutanix, things of that nature. We provide all sorts of virtualization from VMware to Hyper-V, and we care mostly about keeping things on high availability and definitely having disaster recovery in place for your organization. From a network perspective, we do everything in that stack also. So the names Cisco, Meraki, Palo, anything that you can think of, we work with, we install, and we help deliver topology and make sure that that network is safe and secure. From a cybersecurity practice, we have multiple different ways that we do this. Hence why Lumana is part of this, as they carry our physical security and AI analytics that we're able to deliver back to your business. And then from a Microsoft Cloud perspective, all things Microsoft, licensing, Azure, cloud, tenant migrations, or if you guys need any managed service help, we're here to do that. So when we look at why we selected Lumana as a go-to partner, there is a lot of reasons in this. And natively, one thing at Monarch we put a lot of care in is protection. So not only if you're in a building where you're protecting children or employees, teachers, or just wherever you are and staff, natively, Lumana has one of the best gun detections I've ever seen in the industry that comes right out of the box that you can actually work with. It's very easy to deploy. In this situation, you're going to learn how to make your dumb camera smart today. And with that being said, we're not ripping, replacing, and doing a whole topology and Cat 6 runs and approach. This is an instant relief and quick installation. And it's built off of some of the best enterprise architecture I've ever seen from the compliance standard and from a cybersecurity perspective for your protection.
Thank you for that, Joe. Well, briefly, guys, Lumana at a glance before we jump into the demonstration is who we are. Like Joe mentioned, we make your dumb camera smart, but we are an AI-powered video management platform, okay? We deliver real-time video intelligence to help you see, understand, and act. But please, once again, we really want to get a point across that you do not need to rip and replace. We understand that yourself, the IT, the director of the facilities, whoever it was before might have installed a system priorly that you might want to, change. You don't have to. So Lumana will take any camera to make a pixel or higher as long as it's on VIF on the system to their network, and we will add our analytics on top of it. But speaking of analytics, our platform per day, we're analyzing over 4 billion images with our AI detection. And we're talking about gun detection, but it can be weapons, it can be unwanted individuals, cell phone usage. And whenever one of those images is analyzed and an alert is set, in less than 2 seconds, yourself, an SRO officer, someone not even in your company that is in charge of security can be alerted. But while we're talking about mostly kind of about our education and facility-based customers today, on the bottom left, we did a highlighting of kind of our customers across the globe, from enterprise, McDonald's, to larger education like NYU. If there's a existing camera infrastructure, existing access control, we will take it, we will enhance it, we'll make it better. And as of right now, we're installed in over 50,000 cameras across the US, and we are growing day in and day out. But what we'll cover, once again, is going to be, we did a quick panel actually with some of our existing education customers and some of our corporate on where existing systems are falling short, how the AI detection actually works on a camera by camera level, talking more about the no rip and replace blueprint, a demo, and then I'll pass it back off to Joe because he's the one that's going to be helping with implementation and installation across the US. And then I can already see plenty of questions now, so please send them in. But we will end with a Q&A. But once again, if we don't answer your question that you have, Joe and I, you have our word, and our colleagues will reach out to you after this call. But from the panel that we hosted with some of our existing customers, where systems were falling short, the main three things were this. Number one was going to be student and campus safety. So we pulled some stats as well, but as you all know, violent incidents at schools have risen year over year, month over month, decade over decade, and the camera systems haven't gotten really any better. This had led to a staffing strain. You all have probably had to hire more people in regards to security, or let's say it was handled by facilities before, now it's IT. It's encompassing more and more people across your organization. And with that strain, investigation speed wasn't getting any easier. One of our customers told us it took over a day one time to find a certain incident because they had to find the right person, they had to get permissions, they had to get password protection, they had to do everything, and then they had to manually scrub through minute by minute to find something. But Lumana is kind of changing that completely and what we're doing differently. But the first thing that we're doing is how to improve on all those issues for student and staff safety. So we'll be talking about weapons detection, but there are other analytics that are ready to go right out of the box. Violence and aggressive behavior for your interior and exterior campus, unauthorized dorm access, okay, known offenders and trespassers. I come from the SLED or education and municipality. So something that we saw quite a bit were students that were expelled or parents that had lost custody. With Lumana, you can highlight these individuals or pre-upload their photo so that anytime they do walk into your campus or building, you could be a bar owner and you could take someone that's been 86th. Same technology you can alert anyone if people come in and out. Same thing with unknown campus visitors. But once you do learn on those analytics, the alert verification and dispatch, we can send alerts to people outside of your organization or inside. If you don't know how to use the system in the very beginning, we will help with the training, but we also have an incredibly easy to use native language search. But we're doing more than faces as well. We're doing license plate recognition, and not even for LPR cameras. We have that technology. Once again, if it's 2 megapixel or higher on your camera side from a dome, you can actually look up a certain license plate. And from all of that information that it's ingesting, taking in, you can create easy case management. But the main thing we're going to be highlighting today is once again going to be AI-powered gun detection and emergency response, okay? Lumana does things a little bit differently. We are more than just a gun being detected on your side. We'll actually show what we consider a gun being brandished, because while having conversations with our earlier customers throughout the years, we were noticing that police officers or SRO officers would have a holstered weapon on their side, but that's going to be commonplace walking through, or a security guard even, that you don't want it to set off an alert verification. So I'm going to be showing you here in just a second a gun being brandished, so being pulled outside of a holster and being pointed, okay? Next is going to be our alert verification. I'm going to show you how quick that is. Like I said, in less than 2 seconds. It's going to be a video snapshot as well. So if your school, if your facilities, if you're a laundromat in Roanoke and you have to, let's say, subcontract for security, those individuals are getting that level of protection as well through a push notification, email, or phone. Lastly, on the alert verification, if you need more than just AI, we actually offer a real person, offer a multi-level verification. So if you need to have a third-party monitoring center, we offer that as well, just for a multi-layered verification. And then the automated responses. As I talked about earlier, the strain that some of you guys probably have by hiring more and more people, or if you're working after hours, our system will automatically notify people within your organization and out, even if you're not near your computer or your smartphone device. But how it all works, and I promise this is the last slide before we get into the demo, I just really want to hammer this home, is we'll take any camera. I'm already seeing questions about, do you take this type, this type? We don't care if it's Hikvision, Hanwha, Motorola, you name it, as long as it's plugged into a Cat5, Cat6 cable, you're good to go. And all those cameras go right into our core device. We've partnered with Dell and NVIDIA, so we are at the top of the edge when it comes to technology. So the system you get with Lumana today, there'll be more alerts that you can have. But from your on-premise device, you can control everything through the cloud. So no matter where you are, if you're on your smartphone, your laptop, your iPad, doing a summer vacation, no matter where you are, you can have the control of Lumana from wherever you are. But without further ado, I'm going to jump into a quick live demonstration of how the product actually works and actually looks. Get a quick drink of water here. I'll move a couple things off to the side. All right. Everyone, what we are looking at right now is going to be our Lumana demo site, okay? From a click of a button, let's say if I'm going to talk like I'm a school district here, you have multiple sites, multiple locations. You can easily click through all of them from a click of a button and scroll through. I will also mention that we are looking at 5 different camera manufacturers here on this demo site between Hikvision, Axis, Motorola, Han1. I forgot the 5th one. So if the cameras seem to be a little bit, as fuzzy than the other ones do, that's probably a 2 megapixel camera that we've loaded on, okay? Additionally, from a higher level view, if there's more than just going through site by site, you have sites across the world or states. From a click of a button, we have integrations with Google Map, so I can click in and see where all my cameras are located across the world. If you have a floor plan, or if you have a certain device level, you can actually send a floor plan to our partners at Monarch, and they can hyperimpose our camera view onto those floor plans so they can be shared. And then from a device level, you can always see the health of your cameras and your core as well. So what I'm trying to get at here is there are multiple ways to view Lumana from a camera individual level, from a map level, a floor plan level, or a device level. You always have complete control of your entire system, okay? Now, with our 5 different camera manufacturers, I'm going to show you briefly on how easy it is to do an AI weapons gun detection alert. I'm actually going to do it twice in about 30 seconds, but rest assured, if you have Lumana deployed, you're not going to be needing to do this, even though you can. Our engineers and our solutions team can help you. But from all of these tabs right here, all you would have to do is click alert monitoring. And from here are all of our, Joe mentioned, all of our prefabricated, ready to go out of the box alerts, okay? From motion being detected, tailgating, gun brandishing is the one I'm going to do, but I'd be remiss if I didn't show all of them. Other ones that we're seeing are individuals holding a phone. We even do more. We have PPE as well, from gloves to personal safety. As you can see, this list goes on and on and on. And from here, all you would have to do for weapons or gun detection is you would use a template. You can either pick all cameras or a specific camera. So for this environment though, like I said, I can click all. But if you want to do, let's just say 1 or 2 locations, I can click here, select a zone. I can have this entire area, or I can highlight an area and say I only want weapons detection here. And I can exclude all the rest. Reasons why you'd want to exclude it is, let's say you are a municipality and you're a police station, and there's a room in the back where your law officers are constantly loading or unloading the weapons, or you're a school district with an SRO comes in and out of their break room. You only want to be watching a hallway. You can do that. From here, once you've highlighted it, you click select. Automatically, it's going to be pushing through that AI alert. Only 2 more tabs. From here, it's going to be the schedule. So you can do a custom schedule or at all times. Let's just do it at all times. And then from there, it can notify people within your organization or outside of your organization. So let's say I'm a bar somewhere in my hometown of Malala, Oregon. Did not see that one in the chat. It can go through and highlight people within my organization, or if you had to subcontract out, right here, email, phone number, they're getting a push notification in 2 seconds or less with that video. Once again, I just made a AI weapons for weapons being brandished in less than 30 seconds. And from your system, once again, all you have to do is click alerts, add alert, click gun being brandished, and it's that simple, okay? Same thing with violence. I'll highlight that one as well. Violence on a camera, same thing. Highlight that camera. Click the area where violence would be detected. And then notify certain people within the organization. If you do have multiple alerts set up at one time, that's completely fine. You can layer them. But if there are multiple layers, I do recommend that you put on a note saying, hey, like gun detected in hallway south, so on and so forth. That's how easy it is to create an alert. Going back to our main page here, I will highlight that there are also exterior cameras as well. But something that we've also seen our customers and our individuals use here is our native language search and how much more granular you can go when trying to find someone. So the second tab here is our search button. The very top, you'll see switch to text. And I'm going to use a generic search, but let's say over the last 6 days on all of my cameras, I want to look for a specific action. And I can put in, let's say, a person walking a dog. I can spell person, right? Usually in about, I would say, 3 to 10 seconds, depending on how many cameras you've selected or how many days it goes back. Here it is. I think that was 4. I timed it. Here's every single individual that has been walking a dog on the exterior cameras. I can also go to a clip level, see it all here as well. But once again, that was a generic search on how easy it is. Let's go on a much more detailed level. So besides the switch to text, I can go and highlight individual cameras, people's face, and vehicles, but layer that all into one. A common thing that we often see is a stolen package or a student potentially walking off with a backpack or a stolen item. So I'll even go wider. Let's take the last 2 weeks. I'll take all my cameras. And so traditionally, as you would know, if you needed to find a person that was stealing a package, it might take you hours, if not days, to scrub through the footage. But from Lumana, I just highlighted 11 cameras. And over the last 2 weeks, we've picked up 20,000 people that have walked past our cameras on the interior or exterior, kind of going back to how long it could take for an investigation. But if you have a brief description of what the person is doing or what they look like, you can go from a 20,000 to only a couple. So for this, let's say out of these 20,000 people, I know I'm looking for a male. Sorry about that. Looking for a male. Seems to be an adult. And his upper body, let's take the color black, okay? So from that earlier number, we're now down to 5,000 individuals that are male, adult, wearing black. And like I mentioned earlier, they were potentially carrying a bag or an object. So from that 20,000 number, over the last 30 seconds, we're down to 1,000 people. Well, I still need to go on that's still too much to go through. I could highlight accessories that they were wearing as well, hats, no hats, glasses. But the one that I'm going to do to show you on a multi-layered level is highlighting the vehicle that they were in, okay? So I can add a vehicle, make, color, type, or even a license plate. For this one, I'm going to type in Tesla. And now once again, from that original 21,000 people, I'm only looking for men wearing black who are adults carrying a bag over the last 2 weeks that have got into a Tesla or a Tesla was there in a frame, okay? And I've gone down to 142. So if you are ever conducting an investigation or you are ever looking for something, that's how quick and that's how easy it is. And then from here, let's say this is the individual that I'm looking for. I could track that vehicle or I could track that person, get images. I could easily share it all from a click of a button. And then right here, I could archive it. So I have it for the life of the system. But once again, this is how easy it is to conduct a simple investigation by a person's actions, what they're wearing, what type of vehicle they got into. And as you can see, I'm running it off my home Wi-Fi here. And I took that in easy search and did it in less than a minute and a half. But with all these analytics and all these alerts, it can kind of be overwhelming. Once again, Lumana will help you with this process because we're only covering, I said, probably 2 or 3 of our alerts out of our hundreds. But once you save and once you create an alert, as you're all aware, probably your current DMS or how you view your cameras is going to be this traditional wall look where you can view cameras like this. Lumana does it a little bit differently. We actually create certain dashboards. So any alert or analytic you want to track, you can do it from here. Now, this is just demonstration purposes, but for this one, we can track occupancy of our office, VIP cars, smoke detection, the list goes on and on, but it's completely customizable for what your environment is, and you can still drop in a camera. But since we talked about a gun being brandished, I could easily go through, and this is a test environment. This isn't our actual, like a real gun, but one of our engineers does walk around a couple times a week and does test out a gun being brandished. So any alert that you have, let's say, once again, people holding cell phones, people brandishing a weapon, you can easily click into it and view it all from from a click of a button from any device. Once again, laptop, iPad, web device, you are good to go. There's a lot more analytics, everybody. I understand, but in clarity of time, I just wanted to highlight once again the AI weapons detection. And all of these are included. There's no a la carte. So if you were only interested in gun detection, but later on you're like, you know what, we really need for items disappearing from our shelves, it's included as well. We are agnostic to our cameras, and we are agnostic to what alerts or analytics that you need. But going back briefly to this, everyone, and once again, thank you for the questions. I feel like during the demo, it just spiked up drastically. But before I pass it off to Joe, this is how easy it is with the next steps. First of all, we just need to check your camera compatibility. We want to be sure that the alerts and the AI functions that we have work with your environments. In all honesty and fairness, if you have a 2-megapixel camera that's looking over a football field or a 3-acre yard, it's not going to be the best for AI weapons detection, but you'll be surprised on what we can and can't do. So if you give us a list, we can tell you what alerts can be learned into your environment. Number 2, you'll work with Monarch to schedule a campus assessment. We'll talk more about that briefly, but they actually come on site to all 50 states. They can get you an accurate representation of what you guys might need and need to know. And then number 3 is to start a pilot program. We can take as little as 1 camera or as many as hundreds. Just depends on what your environment is. We can be sure that the analytics are working for you, your environment, to better protect your students, staff, and customers. But for the last part here before our Q&A, and please continue to send in those questions, I'm going to pass it off to Joe again on how the partnership works and how accounts grow and how they learn. So Joe, back to you.
Thanks, William. So when you were talking, I actually thought of 2 things that I thought maybe would be valuable to the individuals on this call today. If you are on this from a school district, we also can transfer all of this technology to your buses. One of the things that we have seen over the last few years, obviously, it seems like all the problems start at 4:30 in the afternoon, and you are shuffling all that data back and forth because there was an incident on the bus. So there's other, I would like to talk about that at some point if you guys offline, if we want to discuss that. And the other thing, since we've been doing this for such a long time, the statistic of a active shooter is over 97% of the time that gun is actually fully seen. And the decision has been made that you're bringing this weapon and it's already brandish. With this technology, you actually can be able to see at probably up to close to 100 yards of that weapon being actually out, and you can take the proper steps in place to be able to secure your location, giving you so much more time. So just wanted to add that in there. But from a perspective of what next steps would look like, it's very, very simple. We would just want to have a discovery call. We're sending out a thank you, obviously, to everyone who attended. And there will be a link in there where you can easily schedule time with us, or we'll reach out to you in another manner. But we just want to get a discovery call, find out about your facility, learn more about what you want to accomplish. At that point, we will set up a site assessment where we will physically have boots on the ground from Monarch. We'll be out there. We will do a complete site walk of your facility, help you look at camera placement, angles, what's going to be best for your organization. And then we'll bring that back to you and build a full scope for your review. And then we can look at a proposal, possible financing, and what we can do with the grants. Right now, we work with, and we have the ability to help you write with FEMA. We can do DHS, Homeland Security. We can look at the COPS school violence programs and any federal government or state that is actually helping you finance and build these safer solutions. And then at that point, if everything looks wonderful, deployment and support in this scenario, if you were just keeping the existing environment, we would just be installing and putting together and ingesting that camera and then putting it into the Lumana server. So they're quick, easy, very fast deployments. And if you have to go and you need other coverage, we're here to support you to run Cat 6, set up any other things that you need at that facility. And that will all come out in the wash as we go through this. And with that, I just want to thank everyone today. Look forward to any Q&A that we want to do, and we appreciate your time.
Gotcha. Thank you, Joe. And with that, I will go to the incredibly lengthy Q&A. I'm telling you right now, this is supposed to end at the hour. If I answered all of these, we'd be here till next week. So I'm going to highlight a couple of these that I've seen multiple times. The number one question that we've got is, how much does this cost? How is it priced? Certain verbiage like that. Lumana is very simple with Monarch. It is subscription based depending on how many cameras are in your organization. That's number one. Number two is a hardware cost for the actual server itself. But what we're seeing is you don't need to have all of your cameras running through the Lumana AI system, okay? It can, but if you only have, let's say, 5, 10, 20 cameras that you really care about certain analytics and alerts, you can do that as well. So if you have hundreds or thousands of cameras but you only need AI on a couple between, like I said, 5, 10, 20, we have options for that as well. We are completely customizable and we will work with yours. Additionally, too, I can't quote anything on installation. But if there are no camera runs needed, because once again, we are camera agnostic, you will see that this is compared to some of the other players out there, since you're not needing to rewire or brick any of your existing infrastructure. Sometimes there is no installation costs, but Monarch can install new cameras if need be. Like I mentioned earlier, you might have been taking over from a project from somebody else a couple of years ago. You might have a new add-on to that building, but there usually is no installation cost. It's just a software, a hardware, and then an implementation for everything to get up and running. This one was kind of already answered, but can we apply for grants to fund this on our own? Yes, you can. However, if you do not have a grant writer or have the ability to, Monarch or Lumana is easily able to assist you with the SVP COPS grant or so on and so forth. Joe, another one that you've already answered a couple times. How long does an implementation take? I don't know. How long does it take my mother to make dinner? It completely vary depending on if she's throwing something in the microwave when I was a kid or something larger. Just depends on when the site walk is needed, interior, exterior. But once again, Joe and his Monarch team are in all 50 states, usually 2 to 4 weeks from the initial setup, from the site walk to the final implementation. That's with all the AI and everything already being trained. And speaking of training, Lumana does include our engineers to sit with anyone within your organization to train them. So I'm going to keep on talking about school districts because that's who I used to work with the most. Every year, we would have individuals that would come in on a temporary or a new employee. We would take the time, and we do take the time to sit down with them to show them the system, to train them on the system at no cost to you as well. Here's a great one. Does this integrate with existing access control or alarm systems? Short answer is yes. Okay, we have native integrations. I'll talk about access control first. Genea, Kisi, Brevo, Linnell S2 off the top of my head. On environmental sensors would be like the Motorola Halo. Those are all native integrations. But when it comes to alarm systems, speaker, we can generate a webhook from our system so we can tie into most integrations that you do need. I should have actually showed that on the demonstration, but if there is a specific integration you're looking for that I just didn't talk about in one of our native ones, let us know. You can put in the question now and we can get it answered later. Okay, really quick. Thank you, everybody. But I will mention as well, there are 2 questions that I really wanted to get across. Once again, will it work with your existing cameras if I have hike vision? Somebody has 7 different types of cameras in their current system. We will work with all 7 if they're plugged into the network, okay, and they're on VIF and RTSP and they're good to go. And then the last question, this is actually a good one. Not saying that none of them are all good, but what happens in a network outage? I will say that our core, they process the AI on premise, okay? So you are completely good. You're completely fine there. So the detection, the recording, it still continues during an outage. That footage isn't lost. And once the Wi-Fi is back up, you're good to go. You're good to share. I think I just answered 8 out of the 77 questions that we've had so far. That also includes where people are seeing where they're from. I'm not going to reply back to those people if you're from a small town or a large town. I'm just going to only answer security questions. But once again, thank you for taking the time to learn more about Lumana, Monarch's reach, And I hope all of you have a pleasant week, work week, and the rest of the summer. And with that, I will conclude our call a couple minutes early. And any questions, we'll reach out to you shortly. And thank you all again for the time. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.